Oh, he must have been checking the tracking on it. He said, oh, just got home. He's helping to make dinner. Got it. Let's see if we can find Brad Hawkins on the internet.
I have his number. I can text him.
Yeah, that's what. Let's see. Ready to roll. We are live.
Okay.
It's always good to start a live panel by inviting the participant.
I mean,
go ahead. What'd you say?
I said usually.
Yeah, yeah. He was actually really adorable. Like in that hangout, he's like, I could just hear him like, I don't want to go. I don't want to get off the hangout. I'm at this. No, I don't. Yeah, it was pretty funny. He's like, what's all this stuff in the bottom? And then the fan was like, I think that's Brad telling us we're out of time.
That's so cute. I love that.
It was amazing. And then I was like, all right, it looks like they're at a stopping point. I'm not going to like super cut anybody off. And then Brad's like, no, I want to ask you a question. I was like, all right, here we go. It was so cool. It's a lot of like hangouts to me. We just did a radio interview. Has anyone been on An Amazing Radio?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were doing an interview with them, and then he was like, okay, you got to tell me about these hangouts. And Rachel's like, look, I'm not a salesperson at all. I don't sell things. That's Brad's job. He's the marketing guy. But if I was going to spend money at ColorworldLIVE, I would book a hangout. So it was really cool. Yeah. And we see that. Like, it's so rewarding to be on the moderator side because we quietly in the background, like, get to watch. And it's the most genuine thing I've seen is just two people, like, just hanging out.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm really excited.
Yes.
So we have some later.
Yes. Hangouts are later. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Goblin Slayer panel. This is a huge first for me. I have never met Amanda or Mallorie before.
No.
So, welcome to Color World. I'm excited to meet you. Mallorie, when I was looking you up, and I was like, wait, what? She's in Fairy Tale. I know that's not your guild's symbol, but
okay.
We're such big fans. I was really excited. So, like, the first thing that we announced, I was like, I know she's on Goblin Slayer, but also Fairy Tale. So, like, that was the first thing I posted of you is Fairy Tale.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What has that been like a weird part of like seeing that set off into the sunset? Has that been weird? I feel like Newton said that every time they'd say like, oh, there's no more Fairy Tale, Newton Pittman was like, yeah, okay, you said that last time, and then we just came back.
Yeah.
Have you had that conversation with yourself? Like, oh no, it's actually over.
It's pretty weird because Fairy Tale was one of the first roles that I had with Funimation. I did a certain magical index, and then I think Fairy Tale was like 2 or 3. And so Yukino was my girl for so many seasons. Yeah. And I was kind of devastated when they said that they were stopping. But I think Newton's probably right. In some sense, there's going to be some sort of spin-off or something else that comes along. So I'm just holding out for those moments.
Yeah, he like literally is like, he's like, I thought about thinking about it, but then I was like, that seems really weird. And we had like a big break before, so that's what I'm just going to tell myself mentally is that we're just going to have this big break, and then we'll be back.
Yeah.
100-Year Quest is a thing, and Fairy Tale's such a big cast anime that there's so much room. And then Eden Zero got announced.
Yeah.
So the Fairy Tale universe it's not over. It's not done.
Exactly.
Amanda, tell me about yourself. How did you find your way in front of a microphone?
Ooh, okay, that's a good question. So, so for me, I was a musical theater person, and then that's what I was doing in college, and decided to switch from musical theater to theater because I couldn't read music, so that was very hard, and so. With that, going, and had always been into anime, and I wanted to be a movie star. I just wanted to be, wanted to go to California. I wanted to be a celebrity. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember like the more I got into anime and everything, like I've always been into animated things. And then I was just like, yo, that's acting.
Right?
And I was just like, I didn't even think about voice acting until I was in college. And I was like, I don't even know how to do, what do I even do to support that?
Right.
And so I like looked up, because my favorite anime was Case Closed. And on Adult Swim, and that acting just inspired me. I'm like, this is so good. Like I love it so much. So when I looked up, I was like, all right, it's by Funimation. Yep. So and I looked up, I was like, Funimation's in Dallas. What? Like, and I was like, okay. So I tried to like, I sent in a demo that I like made at a radio station. I don't know.
Okay.
And 2 years later, I get called in, but I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything from the that audition. So it was just kind of like a big audition. 8 years later, I get called in to start doing Walla and all that kind of stuff, and then everything else. So it was just like persistence, really. It was like a long time, but with persistence, I finally made it. So.
And then what did you do in between that first time when you went in and auditioned and nothing happened until like getting cast? What was that process like? What did you tell yourself? What kept you going?
Basically to keep acting and keep keep going, because I was like, you know what, if that wasn't my time yet, and it's all about timing. Yeah. And I was like, I'm still gonna do stuff. So at that time, I was working at a radio station because I'd graduated college. I got with like my dad and some other people, and I was really into old time radio, where it was like a TV show, but you listen to it on the radio. So we kind of started writing our own and recording that, and that
like the Green Hornet, like the old like radio, like. Yes.
Yeah. So we started doing that, and we started doing that on the radio, and then we got picked up by a university for heated NPR, and so I think we did like 30 something episodes of like, I would write some. I wrote a murder mystery one. My mom wrote a lot. My uncle wrote some, and then we would just interject our fake commercials and like sing songs and stuff like that.
That's one of the like themes. So first of all, musical theater is definitely who else has musical theater? Okay, everyone. Because I'm starting to compile this list. We are like, the question gets asked to us about becoming a voice actor, I feel like, as much as people that are voice actors. So I'm like mentally assembling like the best answer ever. And for now, it starts with, you have to do musical theater. You almost. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm saying everybody is. And so, like, sure, you could be the first, but everybody else does musical theater. So, like, that's how they found Brittany Karbowski is Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes. They literally found her doing musical theater. Like, you, get off the stage. We need you to do weird stuff behind the microphone. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And the other thing is that keeps popping up to me is until it happens, you have to be creative, and you have to produce whatever it is, whether it's streaming, YouTube, like you have to create content, and it's almost like you're doing the job before you have the job, and then they're like, oh, you do this thing, just come on in and do it for us. Yeah?
Yeah.
Mallorie, tell me about how did you get in front of a microphone?
Ooh, similar start as Amanda in many ways. I can go way back to like elementary school, all the way back to little tiny baby Mallorie in choirs. I was like a hardcore choir nerd. I'm talking like, city choirs. I'm talking like state choirs, like regional American choirs. I went all the way. I just loved it. And still to this day, I think choir is such a cool thing because it taught me how to start to master my voice and, the different things I could do with my voice and my range and all sorts of things. And from there, it moved into musical theater. Then theater, I got my degree in theater. But people had always told me, man, Mallorie, you have a really pleasant speaking voice. You should consider using that in some way, maybe books on tape or something like that. And so I started really in the commercial world doing, different, commercials, TV, radio, things like that. And then from there, I have a similar story actually as Amanda, where I found this random email address for Funimation on the internet. And I was like, I really want to work there. Let me just email them and say, hey, I'm here. I can be at your studio in 30 minutes. I'll do Walla. I'll do whatever you want, kind of the background noise, in different animes. And it was 4 years that I heard nothing. And then I got an audition, and that's where I got my first role in a certain magical index. And then it was just up from there.
So what did you do in those 4 years? What did your life look like? What did you tell yourself?
Yeah, lots of commercial work. Commercial kind of sustained me. Working for different brands. You may have heard me. I've done commercial work for, Pizza Hut and Jeep and Albertsons. So all different types of brands. It's very related to voice acting in many ways. Sometimes you get commercials where you have to be a little bit of a character, a mom or, someone who has something going on. It's Brad.
Yay!
Welcome, Brad. Oh, your mic is muted. Brad, unmute your mic. Okay.
There it is.
Yay!
There it is. Thank you. I'm sorry for being late. Technical difficulties. I'm here. Go. Continue.
Okay. So I feel like that's another thread. I was in a hangout with Brittany, and Brittany was like, guys, I'm not gonna lie. Commercial work is what pays my bills. Being the voice for Slumberjay is what helps me pay my mortgage, and the other stuff is it's fun and exciting and entertaining, but what's going to pay the bills are here's how to not drive a forklift off the edge of the loading dock.
Yes, exactly.
Hayden, how did you get in front of your mic? Just because I know you doesn't mean that there aren't tons of people out there how did you get in front of the microphone?
Oh gosh, so it actually started a lot earlier than I thought it did. In going back and doing other con events, I remembered that in elementary school, in order to teach us to read out loud, they would have us record books onto cassette tapes.
Okay.
So they'd have you sit down and read out loud, and I really liked that. I had a little bit of a stutter growing up. Turns out I totally forgot, but listening back, I was like, I did have a little bit of a stutter, but I started doing reading out loud, and we would have celebration days at my elementary school. It was a very tiny school in a hippie town. I just moved out of, yay, LA. But we would have celebration days where we'd have to write our own material and create sort of an end of year performance. And I really loved that. I always loved performing and getting to play the characters that the older students wrote. And I was always involved in music, theater, all of the art classes, anything of that sort, anything of performing arts. That was my bag. I loved that. And then I think I was in middle school, I met one of my best friends and she introduced me to anime. I'd already been kind of watching, I always loved cartoons like Teen Titans and Codename Kids Next Door. I grew up on all that. And she introduced me to anime, and I was like, oh, this I like. I grew up on Sailor Moon and Pokemon and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, Sergeant Frog, D. Gray Man, all these other amazing shows. And I was like, okay, Funimation, I like this. How can I do that? And at 15, I started taking voiceover classes with Kathy Westluck in Vancouver, because I'm from Canada, y'all. Yay. So getting to Funimation was a lot bigger of a leap. It wasn't so much, oh, they're in town, I can go do this.
Right.
No. So I started pursuing stuff in the Vancouver market, and after training and taking a ton of acting classes, I went to school for sound design for a week, decided that wasn't my bag of tricks, couldn't do it. And then I dropped out, got a refund, and then just took acting classes.
Okay.
From there, I got into a studio called Azure Productions in Vancouver, Canada. And I did I started dubbing, doing live action dubs of shows. I think it was Hanako and Anne, Totone-chan, Late Blooming Sunflower, and they were casting me as like, okay, like I can do this. This is a plausible career. And in that time, I was also paying my bills, working at a coffee shop, but doing commercials for like Moose Toys. I got hired for a lot of toy commercials.
Good.
And from there, I managed to get a work visa and moved to the United States and started working at Funimation because Tia Ballard took a chance on me and gave me.
Okay.
Yeah, I love her. She's like a big sister to me. I love her so much. But things just took off, and then Goblin Slayer happened, and then it just snowballed from there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone know Christopher Waitkamp?
Yeah, I love Weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So
The
he
best.
like worked at IBM, like literally worked at IBM. It was like just call back, like I got to do this anime thing. I got to do this anime thing. And then got cast as a racer head and then eventually quit his IBM. All right, Brad, how did you get in front of a microphone?
In front of a microphone. Yeah. Well, it started in front of a camera. I got an opportunity to do, I got cast in Power Rangers. That was the audition, was for the White Ranger. It was a new character they were adding on to the original series and cast. And Jason David Frank had done a pilot called Cybertron. So he was going to go over to Cybertron and have his own spin-off show where he's the star of his own spin-off. And I was going to be the White Ranger. That was the plan. And
Right.
then Jason David Frank just blew up and became, the biggest thing in, and
Power Rangers.
killed
Yeah.
kids programming. And they were like, yeah, he's too popular to let go from the franchise. So they made a deal with me and they're like, hey, how about we keep Jason on Power Rangers and we give you your own show? And I was like, cool. As long as I don't have to wear spandex, I'm good. so that was my first gig, 17,
You never had to wear the spandex?
What's that?
You never had to wear the spandex?
Well, we'd wear it, but not as much as like the guys doing the fight scenes. We would be, because we were filming Power Rangers and VR Troopers. I mean, it was guerrilla style. We were filming 16 hours a day. It was non-union. It was up in Northern California. It was hotter than hell.
Yeah.
And so you had the second unit stunt team that were shooting all the stuff to match the footage, the Japanese fight footage. And then you had all the American actors over here doing our scenes and the live action that we were doing outside of the costume. So we were shooting 4 episodes every 11 days. I mean, it was just, it was a machine.
Yeah, that's the work right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I started in front of the camera and truthfully, I mean, when I got behind a microphone was when I had a record deal. I was a country singer for about 3 years. So I was on the road singing and had a record deal in Nashville. So technically in front of the microphone, that would have been the first experience. But then whenever I got back in town, back into Dallas, Funimation, this was 15 years ago, and they were still, what was the original one? Is it like Arlington or Irving or something? The original Funimation was like off of 183. If you're from Texas, then you might know where that's at. But and it was just like Wallace sessions, like 5 grown men crammed into a small shower-sized booth. So that was it. Started out with Wallace. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? What are you digging up here?
It's the beauty of it, man. I literally, oh man, that is awesome.
Look at that Roadhouse haircut. Oh boy.
Get it, boy. Get it.
Oh yeah, see that's my pensive, like, I'm in thought right now.
Yeah, you're definitely thinking about either your dog or the house or your girl. Yeah. And then the title is Yeah. That's awesome. If you play a country song in reverse, you get all the back.
No doubt. You get your car back, your girl back, your house back, your dog back.
Only a country fan gets that reference.
Yeah. No, it was a good run, man. I had a good time. I've always been, since I kind of had a good run really young. I was doing most of my acting. And, when I first started out, that was when, I was on a series and then trying to just catch up and get more gigs, but it ended up being more guest star roles after that. And then when I went to Nashville, I was on the road for 3 years. And then I went back to LA and gave it another run. And I just, every time I come home to Texas, it fit. It was home. It was where I felt like this is where I needed to be, even though I had to sacrifice the television side of it. Because if there's just more work in LA, if you're in LA, your odds of getting work are better. There's just more opportunity. But there's some acting gigs here in Texas, and between the commercial market, the voiceover market, and every now and then a TV show comes through. We'll get an opportunity to do some stuff like that. I did Boyhood was the big movie that I did in the last, say, 5 years, and that was all filmed in Texas. So that was just, I was in the right place at the right time for that movie, and that was a huge thing for me, for huge experience.
Mallorie, I've tried desperately to find commercials of you on YouTube. When we had John Gremion was on, and I found his pharmacy commercial that he did for one of the drug companies. But I've been trying. I can't find the pizza. I thought for sure I could find the Pizza Hut one, but
dang, I wonder if they still have it up. It's I'm going to sound like an advertiser right now. It's their new Hut Rewards program. You can sign up and earn free pizza.
That's awesome. I bet. Is that hard to like pull out of that, to like resist like going into commercial voice when you're just like?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's commercial in particular. I have kind of two kind of commercials that I end up doing. One is the super low and dramatic and like something beautiful is happening in this moment. And then the other is just the super high energy. Like right now you can get bananas for this price, just going crazy. So I usually end up booking those two extremes.
That is badass. I love that. Amanda, what do you get typecast in commercials at all?
I have actually never done a VO commercial.
Okay.
But I've done some on camera.
You've done on camera commercials? What?
Yeah. So one was for that. I think it's still up on YouTube, but it was actually for NTT Data.
Okay.
And, I was like a tech nerd. And then I recently got cast. I can't say anything, but I'm also a hacker tech nerd, cyberpunk girl. So that will be on camera as well, and a narration voiceover. But yeah, so apparently I get computer girl.
Yeah.
Tech.
Like a cute, geeky kind of girl, I guess.
I don't know. I guess. Yeah. That seems to be, I get that, because anytime I go for like a girl next door, it's like, it's like, we're not it.
Yeah. Is it the NTT Data Global, or is that something different?
I think so. It was.
He's looking it up right now.
I'm totally. If I can.
Data, and it was like Dale. They were like taking over like the Dale computers.
Okay. So is it like a mini, like almost like a mini movie, like a tiny mini movie?
Maybe. I had blue hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what I can do. We'll work on that. I'm gonna multitask. They say multitasking is gender related, but I break that stereotype all the time.
What is gender anyway?
In 2020, it's more complicated. As long as everybody feels comfortable being themselves, that is what's super. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to be you. And I think that what I'm hearing from everybody is you found something that you loved, and it's in doing that thing and being passionate about that thing that the work in the anime world found you doing your thing. Like each of you would be like, oh yeah, Funimation. Oh yeah, also Funimation. But then it was like years. For most of you, it was years between like your first contact and then like it actually coming. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I'm trying to like tell the story in terms of like nobody should give up on their dreams, but also while you're working on the dream, go be the voice of like forklift driver number 4. Brad, you were telling the story earlier, the OG Goblin Slayer. Brad, you're a stud. I just caught his title down there on his.
I was just looking at everybody's too. I was like, oh, look at everybody. Everybody went all original. I was trying to change it up a little bit.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. you were telling the story of like being soldier number 18 and like angry crowd mob number 4. Like,
Yeah.
Tell us about the importance of just working.
I mean, I had someone tell me a long time ago, work to work. Just be in motion. If you're an artist, if you're an artist, continue to be an artist. If you're a singer and you play guitar, keep doing that. Whether it pays you or not, stay in motion, be creative, keep doing what makes you happy. Because I really think that, we found a way. I think we're very fortunate because there's a lot of people that can't pay their bills with a lot of their creative work. They're artists that don't sell their art. They're artists that paint, to paint just creatively with no intent of making money. There's no monetary, mission for them. They're just painting to paint. And I think we're lucky because we found a niche where we can actually do what we love and we get paid to do it, and it's filled two needs for us. Everybody knows the voiceover stuff that we do. It's not a ton of money. It's not. It's just, I just love to stay busy, and I love to keep scratching that creative itch and staying in motion, man. Without it, like right now, we haven't been in the studio for months, and it's just like I'm itching to go back. I love hanging out with the engineers and the directors and seeing the other, voice actors that I'm working with. I love creating. And I think that's what we miss more than anything is just staying in motion and creating.
So how many people are a musician? Like can play an instrument, singing is kind of, for sure? Okay.
I haven't played. I used to play flute and I'm starting to pick up guitar again, but I haven't played in a while.
Did you ever
singing right now?
Did you ever run in with a guitar?
No.
So because you had it seemed like you indicated that you at one point you could do that and then you like put it down and now you're like
I put it down because I was moving all the time.
Okay.
My guitar is currently in Texas.
Oh wow.
So
that's where all guitars are.
And my flute is in Canada, so
that's awesome.
But the vocal cords are here. Yeah,
for sure. Goblin Slayer as an anime to me, you guys, is something like it's particularly spectacular. I'm excited to be able to do this today because I'm a fan, and being that I'm in charge over here at Color World, then I get to do something I like. So I want to say for me, the acting is absolutely spectacular, and a lot of it reminds me of Lord of the Rings in terms of like the dynamic between the dwarf and the elf is like. It's just classic high fantasy. Like Mallorie, did you feel like in your head, did you feel like that relationship was there between you guys? I know you're speaking to a video screen when you're recording and he wasn't like there in session with you, but did you ever feel like a Lord of the Rings, like sisterhood?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. Barry, I've actually never had the chance to meet him in person.
Okay.
But I wish I have because you could, at first, it wasn't necessarily evident, but then as the like season progresses, you see this like wonderful dynamic between the two characters that honestly is maybe my favorite part of voicing High Elf Archer. It was just that kind of back and forth because what I love about it is like they have this rivalry, but at the end of the day, they have each other's backs and they care about each other and they're partners on the battlefield. And I just think that's like such an endearing relationship. I love it so much.
I've watched like 10 episodes in the last 12 hours. I don't sleep much.
There's nothing wrong with that.
We believe being prepared is best things did. And so I remember there's that scene where the high elf just really does not go well, and he has to save her, and there's very little left of her outfit at the time. And normally when he would be making fun of her, there's this shift in like, okay, I'm here to protect you, and like I'm not even going to address the fact that you're in a compromise. Like there's just so much. It's kind of like when you were told when you're younger, like. The boy that likes you is the one that's mean to you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
There's Did you like Legolas at all as a character? Are you a Lord of the Rings fan? Like, was there any personal connection with you and
Ooh, oh, yes. In fact, in my family, we had a life-size cutout cardboard Legolas in our house, which we would always like place around the house to just scare people when you turn a corner and you're like, oh my gosh, Legolas, what is he doing here? So we were huge fans. In fact, one of the things I wanted to do this quarantine that I haven't done is just rewatch all of Lord of the Rings. I saw that, Hayden, you were doing that, right?
I did that. I did that with my friend Robin when I was back in Canada. We took 2 days to watch. The first day we watched the extended editions of the first and second one. Yes. And then she came over the week after, the day before I was running a D&D session for her and one other friend. And we watched Return of the King extended and we're like, this is great. And then she makes wine, like her family owns a wine company. So she brought over like her wine that she made. We had wine and watched Lord of the Rings extended editions. It was the best.
That sounds perfect.
It was amazing. I was like, this is quarantine. This is
awesome. Like don't ever let it stop. If this is quarantine, please don't ever let it end.
Yeah, but I want to go back to studios though.
Oh yes. So Amanda,
my friends.
Yes. Was there anything in your experience as the witch that, like, I had no idea Mallorie was in her childhood had cutouts of Legolas. Was there anything that's that like tangential for you with the witch? What was that like experience playing the witch in Goblin Slayer?
I always play a spellcaster in D&D.
Really?
Yeah.
So were you pumped then when you came in? Because a lot of times they just say you're booked for this time in the studio, and then you're like, okay, who am I?
Yeah. And so I knew how powerful she was when she was talking to Priestess, and she wasted a spell lighting her pipe. Because like you only get so many spells a day.
Yeah. So you're like, this chick is a little.
No.
Yeah.
She's drunk. Oh, I'm sorry.
So being that you're a D&D person, Amanda, I actually think the Goblin Slayer world is incredibly created. Like there are clearly rules to it.
Yes.
The fact that the characters have limits and ability. Like what was your experience in like at what point did you get to sit down and either watch the anime or read the manga or like dive into your character? And did you like did that connection jump out to you, like how well the world is?
Yeah, well, honestly, it was before it was on. Okay, so me and Hayden actually sat down and watched the first episode before we went to audition.
Really?
Yeah. No, we got together. We're like, they said it was VMA. Let's see what we're getting into, and it's so good.
Yeah. So because we got the warning. We were like, warning.
Oh,
so
yeah.
A lot of actors were turning it down. And I was like, I'll audition. Yeah. And I was like, I love like dark fantasies and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, I'll watch it. Because I mean, I guess I can always say no after I audition. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But so I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. This is very D&D. Like this is just like D&D.
Yeah.
And so I was down.
Okay. Super down. Brad, are you normally a deadpan, or did you is that you under that mask?
Well, it's funny because you do 2 years of VR Troopers, and you're used to doing everything inside of a mask. So this came full circle for me. I was just like, oh, it's a character. Oh, and I got to wear the mask. I was like, oh, this is gonna be perfect. Full 180 for me. But my character wise in Funimation, there's guys they have high range, and there's guys that have a really deep bass, baritone sound. I'm the mid-range raspy guy. So any character that I'm playing, and that's what I'm saying, if it's like, if it's a security guard or it's, a Walla session or whatever like that, it's really, in specific. Doesn't really matter. It's just a bunch of us going at it, or you only hear a couple of lines, so you can't really identify with who the voice might be. But I usually, Funimation will bring me in to read for stuff that fits that mid-range raspy, this sound. But with Goblin Slayer, they were like, look, just emotionless, nothing gets to him. He just comes to life when all of a sudden he gets to kill goblins. That's when it turns into that. So I was just like, okay, cool. And they're like, and by the way, you got to hold this bucket in front of you the whole time you're doing your looping, your dubbing and stuff. So yes, the secret behind that sound is not an effect. It's actually a bucket about this big. Yeah. And I think they used to put like, it was like holiday caramel corn or something like that. Or
I think that's what it was.
it was popcorn. It used to be a popcorn bucket. And it was just sitting in there, and we grabbed it and we hold it in front of me. So it's from my mouth, it resonates through the bucket, and then the microphone picks up that Echo 10 helmet sound. So yeah, every single line, every line. It's like, bucket. Oh, Brad, you didn't use the bucket. Where's the bucket, Brad? You know? Okay, all right, yeah. So me and the bucket, my co-star.
Bucket.
Did you to me, the thing that jumps out is the brilliance of the Goblin Slayer. How much did you get to see before you knew that you were the Goblin Slayer? How much of did you watch any of the sub beforehand?
No. I dove in to the deep end of an empty pool. I knew nothing about anything. I dove in, and then I quickly befriended Hayden because Hayden knew everything. And so I just sat there and was like, download, download everything. And she's like, oh, and the manga, it was like this. And then in this episode, it's like, oh, you're talking about episode 5. About 2 minutes and 37 seconds in, that's when I'm like, love it. She's going to make it so much easier for me.
Oh my gosh. Did anybody else use Hayden as the dictionary? Mallory or Amanda, did you call Hayden in terms of like figuring out what was going on?
Only really after the show. I feel like we always would talk about, oh, remember that episode where this happens? And Hayden would be like, oh yeah, it's episode 7 at this point, you know?
Listen, I like the show a lot, okay?
Really, look, in episode 7, I gotta tell you, so I watched 10 episodes in the last 12 hours. It is a bit anticlimactic, 8, 9, and 10, because 7 is like Hayden
punches you in the face.
Well, you knew it wasn't over, right? Hayden, at that point, then okay. Amanda and Mallory, did you know that it wasn't over when you did 7?
I don't think so.
Like,
yeah, you mean more episodes were to come?
Yeah, did you know? You already knew that there was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew there was more episodes.
I think it's one of the only animes I've ever watched as it became available. There was like this, we did 100 shows in 30 states before the zombie apocalypse started, and it was, guys, it was one of the few shows that every now and then I just test. I'd be like, "Are you watching Goblin Slayer?" Just to the fans that were like at our booth, and they're like, "Ah!" And there was this great cult following. It was one of the few times that I was actually waiting. When's the next episode? When's the next episode? And when 7 came, I was like, it's all over. It's all 7 episodes. I was like, my heart was snapped in 2. You had to wait to the next episode. Like, holy crap. Have you watched the dub back of that, Brad, for episode 7?
No.
Okay.
Is it great?
Brad,
you should watch it.
Really? Because you come stumbling out of, like, first of all, you take a potion and you go way beyond any limit that magic can hit. Like, you just see that potion bottle like roll across the floor, and you're like, "Oh damn! I think he's gonna get up."
That's my limitless bottle right there. That's it.
Man, it is really, honestly, I've watched a lot of anime in my life. We don't like doing things that we don't have like an authentic connection to. It feels weird. I want, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to host this panel, like, I'm going to host this.
You're all in.
I'm not going to half-ass this. Yeah.
I was going to ask the rest of the cast, because I was curious if this was only me, nerding out and getting emotional. But Hayden, I used to watch. Let's see here. I was thinking about when I was doing Tiki Meek, and I'd done the whole season with D. Grayman as Tiki Meek. And I get all the way through. We've been doing this show because it wasn't streaming at first. They cast me in the very, very beginning. And then there was about a I don't know, a 6 or 7 year break, maybe an 8-year break. And then they got the show back with all these streaming episodes. So then I got to go back and finish the character. There was the final scene where he dies, in a sense. And I was like, oh my God, am I dead? I was like, am I dying? Am I dead in this? So there's a couple times in Goblin Slayer where I'm like, no, he can't die yet. I'm like emotional about it because I'm like, he can't. That's not it, right? They're like, no, he comes out. I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't dead.
Yeah.
You guys have any characters that have died in a series? Have you been involved with a character that dies in like in the plot and like it affects you? Or am I just being emotional right now?
No, you're not at all, because you get so emotionally attached to these characters. And I work a lot with Kyle Phillips, who's a director up at Funimation, and actually for Fairy Tail, I go in there and he would love to play practical jokes on me because I'm so gullible. I really am. I believe everything everyone tells me. And he would be like, Mallorie, I'm so sorry. Yukino dies this episode. And my face would just go, no. And he would do that to me consistently. And I would believe him every time because we like characters. Yeah.
Mallorie.
Oh man, that is amazing. Like in a very terrible way, but holy cow. Now did you, are there a lot of feels for you, Mallorie, in Fairy Tail? That's one that gets me in the feels pretty consistently.
Yeah, and especially Yukino's trajectory on that show. You know, she goes through a lot with her guild and being cast out and just feeling kind of like an unfortunate soul for so much of that. And her relationship with all the other characters too. I think she plays a really pivotal role, especially at the end with kind of rallying the troops for, what's to come next. So I really felt for her. I felt really bad for her at times too.
Hayden, was there anything that you had to do? It is almost painful at times watching you watch Goblin Slayer with the witch and with the cowgirl, and like it seems like everybody feels that every girl has a chance except the priestess. Did you feel that in season 1 where you felt like you were right next to him, but you were still watching?
No, because I read the light novels, so I know priestess is fine. But
you know what I mean? See what I mean?
I just know, Brad. I just know. But I don't think Priestess like jumped in. She's like, cool, this guy, hot. I'm in for it. But like, he's a cutie. But I think Priestess is just like, she owes so much. She owes her life to him.
Yes.
And I think over time, Goblin Slayer just became her best friend. Like, yeah, he has Cowgirl, and that's like a very different relationship. That's like a childhood friends, like you've known each other for a long time. But this is, from my perspective and what I was bringing to it is like, no, it's like a very close friendship, and over time, like they can fuck with each other.
Yeah.
Part of my language. Had very little sleep. They can mess with each other, and to the point where I loved in episode 8 when they're just having that quiet moment, just out in Watertown.
Yeah.
And they're having like the ice cream and having these like really deep talks, to the point where like Goblin Slayer's like apologizing for something, and to the point where she's like, I told you like not to whatever, just messing with
yeah.
He's like, I don't know if this was your choice, Brad, or Tabitha's, but Goblin Slayer like laughs for the first time in the series. It's like just this small little moment, and I'm like, that's what she brings out of him, and it just shows like that deep connection with them. So I'm like, whether they end up romantically or they just stay like these really sweet friends, I don't think it matters either way.
Yeah, I think Tabitha was I mean, obviously she had to be. She was really connected with where every character was in every episode and the relationship to each other. Because as you were pointing out, it's very important that you separate your relationship from Cowgirls and down the line. So, I mean, she was specific with me because there's only these little windows of vulnerability. That was it. Like the whole, I get this, the parallel between him being in a full, in full armor with the shield, the helmet. It's all about the metaphor of he's completely, covered in protection. And that's that emotional sense too. Like all of his armor, is built to protect him on an emotional level from everything that's happened to him since he was a child. So she was specific about letting those little things, sneak out in little windows, and she was strategic about it.
Yeah, and I think it really, really worked. And from what I was seeing from fan reactions to it, they're like, oh my God, they're letting that vulnerability through, which is played differently in the J, which I like. I'm like, I like both versions, and what you brought to the character, like, really, it made me like him more, because I felt like it was easier to connect with him and see where he was coming from. So it made it a lot easier for me as an actor. When the times you would record before me, getting to go in and hear you in my pre-roll, I loved getting to play off of you during the show. I loved playing off of everyone and hearing, I think it was, yes, episode 3 between Priestess and Witch. Did I record before you? I
think I recorded. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
You were like, I feel sorry for you.
I know. I was seeing your flaps.
I was like, what?
Oh my God, I was so sorry. But no, I think what everyone brought to it, it just made for this really cool dynamic between all the characters, and it was really fun. But yeah, no, Priestess and Goblin Slayer, their relationship is just really fun to watch. And from an actor's standpoint, it was really, really rewarding going through that journey together.
I think in a lot of animes, it's easier for me to just like, okay, I'm gonna put you and you together. But in Goblin Slayer, it's like, is it the witch? Is it the cowgirl? Is it the sword maiden? Is it like, who could not be with the Goblin Slayer? I feel like, and then I feel like until he takes off his helmet, like no one has a shot. There's just too much between her and him. Whoever her is, there's too much between them. As long as that armor is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all had a shot. I was just gonna let them fight it out. You know?
I have protection. Y'all just can just step back.
Do you know? Is there more, Amanda, from you in season 2? Do we know already if the witch gets to play a bigger role?
I sure hope so, because I feel like she has some things she knows.
Yes.
She is not telling people.
Oh yeah, she does.
It's almost as if her like sassy, sexy demeanor is obviously hiding so much more.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem understated. It's like, I'm compensating for something. Did you feel that, or what was the direction? Yeah, tell me about.
Exactly. We didn't know. I feel like when I was first dubbing, we were so confused by the way she spoke, me and Tabitha. So what should have been like a 45-minute session was like an hour and a half, because of we were like literally trying to talk out why she's doing this. Yeah. So I mean, I felt like as the season went on, I definitely felt more comfortable speaking, because I kind of got into that. Okay, she's hiding something, like she's, but she knows things, and she's trying to let people do their own thing, because she could obviously just do it all herself, but that's not her place.
Yeah, it's almost like a story in which the creator is in the story. She's just not telling us that she already like runs that world.
Yeah.
I think, and then your point about her like lighting something and using a spell is indicative of like, just, it's like an iceberg, right? Like we're seeing this, but there's like all of that is. Yeah. Mallorie, what do you have other than the Legolas and Gimli? Is there anything that really sticks out to you? Do you get to be that sassy in other places? I feel like Yukino is such a different character than Tell me about the being, getting to be that type of just sass. You almost like, I never felt like you held back.
Yeah, I have to say I voiced a lot of different characters, and High Elf Archer might be my favorite, at least one of the favorites, just because I haven't really had a chance to explore that sass in a lot of characters to the level at which High Elf Archer goes. And, Yukino is very meek and she's scared and timid at times, but High Elf Archer, it sits in a really interesting place in my voice. And Tabitha always said, I love this place in your voice. I want to see you explore that more. And that's always kind of stuck with me as a super nice thing for her to say. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just kind of fun to get in there and have that kind of sass and snark in a character like High Elf Archer. She's really dear to me. As you can tell, I'm wearing her on my shirt.
Yeah. I love that shirt. It's so cute.
Thank you.
My favorite episode was when she got drunk. I was literally, I had her play that, Tabitha play that scene back multiple times. She's like a banana. And I was like, that's just adorable. That is adorable.
It's so cute. No, I love that. I love that scene. It's so fun.
That was so much fun to record because Tabitha, of course, she's an amazing director. And we were just cracking up in the studio recording those lines. And that banana line came out of us just kind of playing around to see where we could
all were cracking up because we were confused on every single one. And then I would have to do a line and it would be like, tick, tick, tick. Is the engineer like making it work? Or are we gonna have to record this all again?
Man, it's in talking about it. It reminds me. It's one of those things that I've seen that I get more excited. The more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more I watch. You watch it and I think it's easy, especially because the first 2 episodes, to be like, oh, it's just this mature thing, and they're just going to throw a bunch of stuff at you, and there's shock value. But then you're watching it, and there's so much, like, Brad, your comment about the armor being a metaphor, I think I had lost sight of that somehow even in rewatching. It never occurred to me, like, how true that is, that there's just in the visual of what we see from Goblin Slayer is a reminder that there's like the iceberg with the witch. Like, I'm excited. Is there any chance that we get to dub the movie, or is it just like
right?
Fingers crossed. It comes out on DVD in Japan. It's been out July.
It's been out since what? March in Japan.
February.
Yeah, so is it on? Is it piratable? Is it watchable? Is it? How do I see
I need more Goblin Slayer. But I'm like, I want to dub it so bad because they're covering that arc, like what they cover in the movie. They're covering it in the manga right now, and it's so good. It's so good.
Okay, so it's really just a matter of the situation that we're in and the logistics of it are. Yeah,
I think that might be impeding us a little bit, just because dubbing from afar and it's like a movie. So I think it's. Might be a little different. I don't know.
Okay. Well, if anyone out there can just do a vaccine for us, we would really love to see the Goblin Slayer movie.
Yeah, start with voice actors, then work your way through the rest of the world.
Find a way to protect the voice actors so they can get in there to the studio and do that.
Essential. You know?
So, Amanda, Mallorie, both of you are in Keijo.
Yeah.
Have you watched the whole anime? Oh, have you? Yes. Okay. What made you watch the whole anime, Amanda?
I loved the concept. I was a fan of it before I was even in it. And because I think, so that was my first named role was in Keijo. Yeah. And so I had done some Walla for it, and I was like, I love this. Like, this is so cool.
Yes.
And then, like later on, like Cliff kept bringing me back for like Walla, and I was like, yes, there's more Keijo. Yeah. And then he was just like, all right, so you're gonna be this girl, and I was like, what? Like I'm actually, because I had just been kind of doing like I had a small like name or a small role in Servant, and then like Keijo came out, and that was like. She had a name and everything, and she was like a villain, I guess, as villain as you can get.
Yeah, in a sport.
And I just had so much fun doing that. and I had never done like because like ADR is a lot harder than, for me at least, because of the timing and watching and all that kind of stuff. And so like I had never done fight scenes before. So I didn't know that, like, oh, okay. So I was like, all right, I was used to the beeps and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, wait, I need a timeout to do like the ha's and uhs and all that kind of stuff. And so it took a little while, but I guess Cliff knew that because we did it in the 3 hours that we were allotted and got it done. So I was like, yes. Yeah, I love that anime.
It's one of my favorites, to be honest. Mallorie, what was your like? Have you watched the whole anime? What was your experience?
I have not, no, but I know the premise of it, and just knowing the premise of it, I was like, okay, this is something I have never seen before.
Yeah.
It's really interesting and different.
It's probably the first sports anime I watched. I mean, I'm sure you could couch it under fan service, except that when you watch it, they're clearly taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Like, every girl in Keijo is there to win. And so it like, because it took itself so seriously, I was like, well, I had to like watch it. I couldn't watch it as fan service. I had to watch it as a sports anime, and it was incredible. I think it's one of my favorite animes. I like it a lot. I'm excited, Amanda, that is so like central, like your first name role. Like that's very cool.
Yeah.
Do people ask you ladies at conventions about Keijo when you get to be in person? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the ones that I get asked about a lot. Actually, you talked about that podcast that you were just a part of.
Yeah, amazing. Yes.
They asked me about Keijo because they're huge fans. And I was like, man, this is now, I've had a couple people ask me about the show. I have to go back and watch it because I remember recording it and being like, this is cool and different, but I feel like I need to see the whole show to get the whole experience.
Okay, we're going to follow, at least on Twitter, we'll follow up with you to see like what it's awesome. And if you just watch it like a sports anime, then it's almost like it's so logical. Like they're talking about the physics of it all.
Yeah.
And you have to get like rotation correctly or you'll injure your, like I love how serious that Keijo takes itself. It's real. Brad, have you seen Keijo? Okay.
Now it's on my list.
Let me put it at the top, Brad. They fight. It's woman versus woman. And it's like jousting where they have to knock each other off the platform, but you can only use your boobs or your butt to attack the other woman.
It's really fun. It's freaking good.
Perfect.
It's freaking amazing. Okay.
It's really fun. I've seen
Those
like
are your two weapons of choice. That's it.
Yes, and there are techniques. It's like watching Dragon Ball Z, but with TNA. Like there are moves. They have names. You have to learn them. You can injure yourself if you do them wrong. It is every bit the sports, and it's incredible.
It's really fun.
I remember my move was called the Perky Pile Piper.
Okay.
Oh, so good. Okay.
I'm not going to ruin it for you about what it was, but
oh, Brad, it's so refreshing, Brad.
Wait.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, that comes to the end of our freebie. I want to appreciate everybody in chat. I've tried to like throw some comments up on the screen to involve everybody. Oh man, Matthew, that doesn't get repeated anywhere. We're just really excited about Goblin Slayer. Somebody was quoting you, Brad, and so I'm like, we're gonna nip that in the butt. But
you're quoting me? Oh, don't do that.
I know.
Don't do that.
Yeah. But we are excited about the opportunity to have a season 2 of Goblin Slayer, the movie, and it's all coming. I think it's just a matter of when, right? Not if.
Yeah. I think so, for sure.
Anything that everybody wants to lift up, other than the fact that they can all still be booked. Everybody's either going to be staying up later or is on the West Coast, and so it's not a big deal. So if you still want to book, please head to the I'll throw a link in chat. But if you want to hang out with anybody on the panel, please, I'll drop a link in the chat, and then you guys can hit us up. We have people working behind the scenes that will like check emails and get times booked, so it's not too late for that stuff. Anything, Amanda, that you want to lift up, projects that you're excited about, stuff that you want to lift up, causes that are particularly important to you right now that I could throw up on the internet?
Oh my gosh, you put me on the spot. I don't know.
Hayden, while Amanda thinks about anything that you want, projects that you're excited about, things that are coming out.
Well, actually, I'm planning a charity live stream for with Amanda, Mallorie, and Josh Bangle, who plays Lizard Priest. And Brad, if you would like to join us, you're welcome. We're going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Because you knew I didn't do D&D. You're like, we're not going to use Brad.
I was going to text you and ask if you'd like to play for the first time, because I was going to do a charity live stream to raise money for Black Lives Matter.
On which platform?
It will be over on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Hayden Daviau.
Okay, I'm going to go there right now. We'll bring that up on screen so people can find it. Hayden.
Yeah, we're going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to be playing an original campaign or just like an original one-shot. I'm working with a friend of mine who's a really great dungeon master. So we're going to think like dungeon crawl, fighting goblins. We're going to play characters that are similar to the ones that we play.
Yes.
So
that's epic. Okay.
Yeah, go follow me over on Twitch. I'm going to try to start streaming every once in a while, start streaming more once I get a little bit more settled here in Los Angeles. But we're building that. We're building the one shot right now. So keep an eye about it. I will post about it as soon as possible. And Brad, if you're interested, shoot me a text and we will make it happen.
Okay, thank you.
And then we are going to do some Twitch specific content on Color World Live at some point, Hayden. So we'll loop. I'm sure you know Jonah Scott.
Yeah, I love Jonah.
He is a very cool part of our community, and so he's Twitch. So anybody that wants to loop in on Twitch, we're probably going to do a whole week where we're going to get everybody together and like mix and match people that haven't been in anime together but exist on Twitch and things like that. All right, Amanda, I saw you. The light bulb went off. Where do you want me to direct?
Oh, because I was thinking the thing with Hayden, and then also I don't know if a lot of people know this, but me, this is going over into the K-pop world. So me and Hayden actually do K-pop covers, singing covers. And so we only have one out right now, but we have another one coming. So it's called Black Rose Garden. Yeah. I see. Yeah. Okay. I see Hayden there, but yeah, Black Rose Garden. There's also some dance music videos.
Black Rose Garden. Look at right on the side there.
This one right here, or no, right here.
Fake love. Yeah.
That's
it. So
you go to
that one's it. So that's one. We have another one coming out hopefully pretty soon. It's actually gone to mix.
Yeah.
So,
and we're recording other ones too.
Yes, we are. So yeah.
Okay, I just dropped that link in chat. Mallorie, is there somewhere on the internet you want to direct us to a project that you're working on, something that's exciting?
Ooh. I have two answers. First, follow me on Twitter. It's Mallorie, my name, but with the 0 for the O. I love talking to you all and meeting you all, especially when I can't get out to conventions. Being able to interact with fans on Twitter makes me super happy and exciting. And then in terms of projects, I'm in Borderlands 3, the new DLC, Bounty of Blood, just came out. Yeah, that's me. And it's really good. It's like a really good DLC. I play 3 characters in there. So go play it and see if you find me and enjoy it.
Is there a link on your Twitter, if I look through here, that'll save me from
scroll, right there here? We go. Yeah.
Is there a link in there, or is that just?
I think if you go to the Borderlands Twitter right there, they'll have it pinned to the top of their page. So
okay, perfect. And I'll drop a link for that in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then Brad, what would you like to direct our attention to on the internet, my friend?
Just wishing me luck. The hardest role I'm ever going to play in my entire career is coming up next month. I'm going to be a daddy, so I got a baby girl. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to need all the support, all the well-wishing, all the sympathies. I'm going to need all of them. So that's all I'm going to be focusing on, and really excited about that. This is my first baby, and it's a little baby girl named Chloe.
Okay, so Brad, I have 5 kids. If you need something
to borrow one,
test run.
You're definitely gonna have your own. But I never sleep. So if something comes up, dude, you just
Call you for advice. Go, what do I do? You got 5 of them. Give me advice for one. Just help me.
Okay, so the biggest thing on advice, they're not going to die. It's not going to die.
No, I'm not going to die.
No.
I'm like, that's probably more the case.
Oh,
like,
really?
This little kid's good. This thing's going to kill me. This thing's going to kill me.
I honestly, with the first 2, I didn't touch them. I was like so afraid that I would do something wrong that would result in a form of this tiny, like,
the tiny little human.
They're so small when they come out.
Yeah.
But the 5th one, the zombie apocalypse, I'm home. Like, I was on the road 47 weeks of the year doing conventions.
Wow.
And so I honestly have benefited tremendously from the current world that we live in. And so my son is 9 months old, and I've got to see him grow up, and I've got to hold him, and I found out they're stronger than you think, and you won't break them. So that's the first advice I can give you right now.
I'm excited. I have all my friends all my buddies who are fathers already have told me, they're like, man, having a baby girl as a guy, having a baby girl, he goes, just everything else goes away. He goes, you just soak them up. They're amazing. So excited.
And Brad, what's a restaurant that you own that people can get takeout from to support you and your new baby girl?
Man, the restaurant I send everybody to is Sushi Marquee at the Star in Frisco. Hayden's been there. It's an 80s, 90s themed sushi restaurant at the Star at the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. So we got a sushi restaurant there, and you walk in and it's all 80s and 90s music and videos and throwback and great sushi.
And then people can get takeout now, even during the zombie apocalypse, right?
As of now, yes. I mean, it could change in the next 3 minutes, but as of now, yes. All the bars in Texas are closed right now, but restaurants are still open at 50% as of now.
Okay, so please help support new dad Brad Hawkins and go hit up Sushi Marquee and
Need diaper money.
Yeah. Papa needs a brand new diaper. All right. So thank you, everybody. Get watered up, go to the bathroom, grab something to eat, and then we'll be back in 22 minutes. Anybody that needs help getting into the VIP, remember, you just purchase any item. Go to that Facebook, Color World VIP only live. All your questions. I'm going to just shut up some more during the VIP. It's going to be all them answering your questions. Appreciate everybody. And then the fun part's coming. VIP and then Hangout. So I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for everybody's. Brad, I don't know if you saw in chat, Matthew is still smiling from your Hangout earlier. Like
Oh, cool, man. He was a great guy, man. We had a great talk.
It was a lot of fun. So, all right, we'll see you guys in VIP. Everybody take a break. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you inside the VIP only section of our Facebook page.
See you then.
Yo.